Hello, everyone. Today, we learn English through the powerful and emotional story of Gucci. This is not just a story about fashion or luxury. It is a story of ambition, family, betrayal, pain, and legacy. It is about how a young man with no money or connections climbed his way into history. Not through violence, not through luck, but with vision, hard work, and passion. As you listen to this story, you will learn English naturally and also discover how a name became a global empire and how that empire nearly destroyed itself from the inside. Have you ever looked at a Gucci bag or belt and felt something you couldn't explain? Maybe it was admiration, maybe envy, maybe desire. But behind that golden double G is something deeper, a history, a dream. And that dream started with one quiet boy, born in Florence, Italy in 1881. His name was Guccio Gucci. His father was a leather craftsman. He made saddles, bags, and simple tools. The family was not rich. They lived with modesty and discipline. But little Guccio, he was curious. He watched his father work with leather, saw the care it took to make something by hand, and felt the importance of quality before he could even put it into words. At the age of 17, Guccio left home and moved to London. He needed work, any work. He found a job as a porter at the Savoy Hotel, one of the most luxurious hotels in the world. Imagine him there, in a red uniform, carrying bags for the rich and powerful. But he wasn't just carrying weight. He was carrying information. He noticed how the guests dressed, how they traveled, how their luggage looked, elegant, structured, artistic. He learned by observing. He touched leather cases from Paris, travel trunks from Milan, and he understood something. Luxury was not just about money. It was about detail, about emotion, about telling a story without words. Guccio returned to Florence with a fire inside him. In 1921, he opened his first small shop. He sold leather goods, saddles, bags, travel items. Everything was handmade. Everything was beautiful. He called his shop Gucci. Slowly, carefully, people began to notice. Tourists came in, locals talked. Word spread that this wasn't just leather, it was art. Soon, Guccio expanded. He brought in his sons, Aldo, Vasco, and Rodolfo. The business grew across Italy. But more than success, it became a family. Or at least, that's what Guccio hoped. As the decades passed, Gucci transformed. The company opened a store in Rome, then Milan. By the 1950s, it had become a favorite among Hollywood stars and European royalty. Gucci was no longer just Italian. It was international. The signature designs like the horsebit loafer and bamboo-handled bags became symbols of status. And when Aldo opened the first Gucci store in New York, it was official. Gucci had taken over the world of luxury. But with success came conflict. After Guccio died in 1953, the business was left to his sons. Aldo, the most business-minded, took the lead. He expanded Gucci across continents. He protected the brand like a lion. But inside the company, cracks began to form. The sons argued. There were secret deals, unspoken resentments. And at the center of the brewing storm was Aldo's nephew, Maurizio Gucci. Maurizio was the only son of Rodolfo, one of the original brothers. He was quiet, elegant, and cultured. Not a businessman like Aldo, but he carried the Gucci name. And when Rodolfo died in 1983, Maurizio inherited 50% of the company. That was the beginning of the end. Aldo didn't trust him. He believed Maurizio was too soft, too young, too naive to run Gucci. But Maurizio wasn't weak. He took control. He began removing Aldo's allies. He filed lawsuits. He made bold moves, and in the process, divided the family even more. As the family war raged behind the scenes, Maurizio made a decision that shocked everyone. He wanted to turn Gucci from a family business into a global fashion house. He hired designers, changed leadership, removed old traditions. The company started to lose money. Gucci was bleeding financially, but Maurizio believed he could modernize it. The pressure mounted. The headlines were brutal. The family was broken. And in the background was a woman watching it all, with rage building in her heart. Her name was Patrizia Reggiani. She was Maurizio's wife. They had once been in love, deeply, passionately. Patrizia had grown up poor but always dreamed of wealth and status. When she met Maurizio, she saw everything she had ever wanted. They married against his father's wishes. At first, they were inseparable. But over time, their love turned cold. The more power Maurizio gained, the more distant he became. He moved to Switzerland. He began seeing another woman. And in 1991, he left Patrizia for good. Patrizia was devastated. But she wasn't just heartbroken, she was furious. She believed she had built Gucci beside him, supported him, guided him. Now she had nothing. The divorce settlement wasn't enough. And she couldn't accept that another woman would sit in her place. So, she began to plan. Slowly, quietly. With the help of a psychic friend and a few criminals she barely knew, she arranged for something unthinkable. On the morning of March 27, 1995, Maurizio walked into his Milan office. It was an ordinary day. He greeted the doorman. He smiled. And then, 3 gunshots. He collapsed on the marble floor, dead. The world was stunned. Gucci, the crown of Italian fashion, was suddenly the center of a murder mystery. For 2 years, the case remained unsolved. Then, a tip, a whisper, an investigation. In 1997, Patrizia Reggiani was arrested and charged with arranging the murder of her ex-husband. The trial was explosive. Italy couldn't look away. The media called her the Black Widow. She wore fur coats and diamond earrings in court. She showed no emotion, and when asked why she did it, her answer was chilling. She said, "I would rather weep in a Rolls-Royce than be happy on a bicycle." She was sentenced to 29 years in prison. And just like that, the Gucci family was no longer part of the brand they had built. Maurizio had already sold the company to an investment firm before his death. The family was gone. But Gucci, the brand, lived on. And what happened next was a rebirth. In 1994, a young American designer named Tom Ford joined Gucci. He was daring, bold, and brilliant. He didn't just design clothes, he created moments. Under his creative direction, Gucci became sexy, sharp, magnetic. The company's profits exploded. Fashion critics couldn't stop praising him. The brand that had almost died from family drama was now the most exciting label on the planet. After Tom Ford came other creative minds. Each brought something new. Each added to the legend. Alessandro Michele took over in 2015 and made Gucci youthful, artistic, gender-fluid. Young people embraced it. Celebrities made it their signature. Gucci became more than a brand. It became a symbol of reinvention. But the story behind it all, Guccio, Aldo, Maurizio, Patrizia, it never left. It was stitched into the very fabric of the brand. And every time someone walks into a Gucci store or buys a handbag, they are carrying a piece of that legacy. A legacy built with vision, broken by ego, and remembered in silence. I still remember the first time I touched something from Gucci. I couldn't afford it. I didn't buy it. But I held it in my hands, and I felt something deeper than leather. I felt a story, a journey, a reminder that even the most glamorous things in life are born from struggle. Gucci is not just about fashion. It is about family, about betrayal, about survival. And as someone who once struggled to speak English, who worked long hours just to learn a new word. I saw myself in that story. You might not build a fashion empire. You might not walk red carpets, but you have a dream too. And maybe right now, it's hidden. Maybe you're like Guccio, watching, learning, waiting, carrying someone else's bags, listening in silence. But someday, if you keep going, if you stay honest and keep your heart alive, you'll create something too. Maybe it won't have a logo. Maybe it won't be sold in stores, but it will be yours, and it will be powerful. That's what Gucci teaches us, that a name can rise from nothing, that family can destroy itself, that love can turn dark, but also that art survives, that dreams matter, that your pain can become beauty. If you learn, if you endure, if you believe. Thank you, my friend, for being here today and for learning English with this story. The vocabulary will fade, the grammar will improve, but the lessons, the emotion, that's what stays. Carry this story with you, not in your wallet, but in your heart. Because one day, someone will ask you how you learned, and you'll remember.